How y'all doing? Just kidding. Hey, we're back here again at Larry TV. Tonight we got a really awesome meal for you. This one is my shepherd's pie delight. Y'all should really dig this one. This is your ingredients that you're going to need for everything. So over here we got freshly chopped garlic. You got your freshly chopped bell pepper, chopped onion, New York strip steaks. I haven't cut that yet. I'll get to that. Some butter you're going to need. You're going to need this potato. You're going to need 5 or 6 of these depending on the size. Beefy onion recipe soup and a McCormick gravy mix. You're going to need a small can of the mushrooms, small can of peas, small can of carrot. There's usually a smaller can of these. I couldn't find it. They were sold out of them. A small can of corn. Your spices here. You got a complete seasoning, onion powder, white and black pepper, garlic powder. You're going to need some whipping cream for your mashed potatoes. So first thing I started off with was my mashed potatoes. I took 5 of mine. I had some pretty big potatoes, so I took 5 potatoes peeled and I cut them down into like squares. Boil them for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, somewhere around there till they're soft. Once they're soft, throw in a little bit of butter, a little bit of whipping cream, make yourself some mashed potatoes. So right now I'm going to get started. I'm going to cut up my steak. I'm going to start my vegetables. Turn this sucker on. Start with a little bit of butter in here, maybe a little bit more. Get this going, and once this heats up, we're going to start with the green pepper. It takes a little longer for the green pepper to cook down, so that's the vegetable you want to start with. Start cooking this down, and after a couple minutes, you go down to your onion, and after a few minutes of the onion, you do your garlic. These are just about ready. Let me check my time. Now the mashed potatoes have been in almost 30 minutes. A few more minutes, they're probably going to be done. I got them on a pretty high heat. They're cooking. Okay, so our next step here is I got to cut up this steak. I'm going to cut up the steak. We're going to start with that. So you want to cut it into tiny little cubes. You want it to be like bite-sized pieces. Turn this off. Yeah, so you want to get your cubes down into bite-sized pieces. Bastard. Dropping steak. Okay, once I finish cutting up this steak, we'll get right back with you. Alrighty, so we got our steaks chopped up into little cube, bite-sized pieces. We're going to start browning these up. I threw in a little butter there to grease the pan up. We're going to start with complete seasoning. Sprinkle some of that on top. About a tablespoon. The onion powder, about a teaspoon. White and black pepper. Some of that in there. Garlic powder. Get that going. My burner off. Alright, so while this is heating up, we're going to go ahead and do our mashed potatoes. So for that, you want to throw in a little bit of butter. About a tablespoonful. Never get these little suckers open. Want to add in some whipping cream. Give that a mix up. Just kind of eyeball it. You don't want to do too much because then it'll get all watery. It's looking pretty good. That's pretty much it for mashed potatoes. Pretty simple. Tiny bit more cream. Alright, we're gonna let this sit until the rest of the recipe's off. Make sure your burner's off. This is starting to heat up. Now we hop over to our meat. Well, you use spatula. When I'm doing steaks, when I'm frying up little things in the pan like vegetables and the meat, I like to use a spatula because you can get under there a little better than a spoon. It's easier to flip it. Just kind of coating it, spreading that seasoning around that I put on there earlier. Heat down a little bit. Don't want to burn it. Just kind of mixing it right now to get some of that butter on there, along with the seasoning that I put on. Now we're going to fry it up, let it get brown. Once this is brown, your next step is you take the juice out. You want to save the juice. So you put whatever juice that you have left into this measuring cup and you save it. And then next you take your meat out, and that's when you start with your vegetables. This won't take long to brown up. Once this gets brown up, we'll get right back with you as soon as this gets brown and start on with our vegetables. Thanks. Alrighty, so we're back. Meat's just about brown here. We're going to go ahead and take it out. So I use this strainer. You want to save that juice, so you're going to need it. It's all your flavor there. So I'm just putting this meat into the strainer here. I'm going to let it just sit. Alright, so Now that we got our meat out, careful you don't burn yourself when you do this. Just going to pour out the juice and save that, because you're going to need it. Next we're going to start with our butter. Throw your pan on, and then we're going to also preheat the oven at 400 degrees. Now that we're getting closer to the baking part. You want about a tablespoon of butter. Get yourself started. You pull all the, there's all kinds of stuff. No, there's not. A couple pizza pans. We did homemade pizza the other day. It came out pretty good. Alright. Now we're going to get this butter going. And like I said earlier, your first vegetable you want to start with is, turn the heat down a little on this too. Get this out of my way. This out of my way. We're going to start with the green pepper. That takes a little longer to cook down than the other vegetables, so that's what you want to start with. Where's the food? Get out of there. So let's mix this up. Let this start cooking down. And you can tell by the color of the vegetable when it starts cooking down. And it really only takes a few minutes. Bring the heat back up a little. About a medium-high heat. So we're going to let this cook down. Once this starts to brown up, we'll get right back with you. Start with our next vegetable. Alrighty, so our next step are the onions. Green peppers are cooking down pretty good. I'm going to start with the onion now. Mix this up a little bit. So you got one small green pepper going right now, and one sweet onion. Medium size, small, somewhere around there. Gonna mix this up, get it coated with that butter. Let that cook down a few minutes. Pick up some of these onions. While that's cooking down, take a little swig. Good stuff. Looking good, looking good. Okay, go with your chopped garlic. Get that in there going. That out of the way now. Whoa! Give her another mix. Now we really got some flavors popping in here.
I really hope some of y'all out there try this recipe. I mean, it's good with the ground beef, but
I don't know. The flame's just fire. Okay, now that's cooking down. We're gonna go with some mushroom. One small can of mushroom. On your carrots. I'm only go about 3/4 of that can. This can's a little large too, so I'm only going to do about 1/4 of it. Mix this down. thicken enough. Okay, now that's all mixed together, we're gonna go with your beef broth that you made from earlier. Put your meat back in. Really should have used that larger pan. 1 cup of water. One beefy onion soup mix, Lipton. Carefully mix that stuff up. Want to get that onion soup in there. Be careful you don't spill crap everywhere. Okay, next, McCormick brown gravy mix. You want to spread that evenly around because this stuff will thicken up on you. Yeah. Give this a mix up. Oh boy, we are looking good. This definitely ain't fit for a king. And just keep mixing it up. Turn your heat off now. You have to keep mixing it to get that gravy mixed in there. Just keep rolling it like that. See what I mean about the spatula? It's just easier to turn this food. You may be struggling with a spoon. Woo. Okay, that's really thickening up nice. Hot in here with all this oven going here. Okay, so now you're going to take your pan and in you go. Look at that. Woo-hoo. Now we're talking. Alright, set that aside. Spread this out evenly. Okay, now we're going to jump back over here. We're going to throw in some butter. About maybe 2 tablespoons. See how we're doing here. A little bit of cream. Mix up that butter. Add a little more cream. It's feeling thick. Dang. Hope I didn't put too much. Hope I have enough mashed potatoes to cover this. I used 5 potatoes. Okay, so now you just want to start placing it on top. Man, I'm making a mess. Okay. So now you just want to spread it out. Kind of like icing a cake. Looking pretty darn good here. Alrighty, so man, it's warm in here. So that's how it should look. So now our next step, oven's preheated at 400. We're going to throw this in for 30 minutes. Just let that bacon brown up. While this is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and clean this mess up, and we'll get right back with you for the final look at the shepherd's pie. Thank you. Alrighty, so we're back. Let's pull it out. So I did make one tiny mistake. I just didn't use enough mashed potatoes. I kind of had a feeling when I was putting it out, I could tell the layer was a little thin. But I'm sure it's still going to be a fabulous dinner. So I used 5 potatoes. I should have probably used 6 or 7 to have a much thicker layer of mashed potatoes. But this is the final result. This is how it should look. Yeah, the layer is pretty thin. We're going to let this cool a few minutes, and then we'll put it on the plate and you can see what it looks like. Alrighty, so as you can see, I could have used a little more mashed potatoes. But this is the end result.
That's good.
I hope you enjoy the recipe. I'll be doing another recipe here in just a couple days. Christmas, I'm going to do homemade mac and cheese. That's going to be another really good one. So I'll see you then when I get back to it. Shout out to the Martian and Revelation show and the Pack 'em and Smoke 'em guys. Hope you like the recipe, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you.